The Galactic Council had long underestimated humanity. To the galaxy's most powerful factions, Earth was nothing more than a tiny speck in the vast expanse of space, primitive, backward, and easily ignored. That all changed the day the Council demanded humanity's submission. The galaxy's most elite forces were dispatched, and they intended to show Earth what happens when you defy the stars. But Earth, as the Council would soon learn, was not a planet to be underestimated. Colonel Jack Hawkins, leader of Earth's elite defense forces, stood before a map of Earth's critical defense positions. His brow furrowed as he scanned the threat reports. The Galactic Council had sent their finest warriors, highly trained, genetically engineered soldiers, and technologically advanced fleets. They were coming to Earth with a singular mission: to crush humanity's spirit. Yet Hawkins didn't feel fear. He felt something stronger: determination. "We don't take orders," he muttered under his breath, turning to his team. "We give them." Hawkins was not alone. In the room with him were the brightest minds humanity had to offer: engineers, strategists, and seasoned warriors. But none stood out more than Lieutenant Maya Torres, his second-in-command. She was known for her innovative strategies and refusal to accept defeat. Despite the overwhelming odds, Maya believed in humanity's resilience. She had faith that they could survive, and maybe, just maybe, turn the tide. "There's no time to waste," Maya said, tapping her finger against the holographic projection of the enemy fleet. "If we're going to do this, we need to strike first. We can't afford to wait until they land on Earth." "We won't wait," Hawkins replied, his voice firm. "We'll hit them before they hit us. We know their patterns. We know how they think." The plan was simple: use Earth's underground bunkers and its technological innovations to fight back. The humans had one advantage over their would-be conquerors: they had the element of surprise. The Galactic Council was used to overwhelming their enemies with sheer force, but they had no idea what humanity was capable of when backed into a corner. As the countdown to launch approached, Hawkins couldn't help but reflect on Earth's rapid advancements. In a mere few decades, humanity had turned the tides of warfare, harnessing the power of AI, biotechnology, and advanced weaponry. In this moment, those advancements would have to prove their worth. The first wave of Earth's defense struck with precision. Earth's surface-to-orbit weapons launched from concealed bunkers, catching the galactic fleet by surprise. Their technologically superior ships were hit by electromagnetic pulses, disabling their systems and forcing them into chaotic evasive maneuvers. The humans were hitting them where it hurt, striking from underground with weapons that the aliens couldn't even detect. "Direct hit! Enemy ship disabled!" shouted Commander Leonard, one of the ground commanders. He could barely contain his excitement. For the first time, the humans had the upper hand. But the battle was far from over. The Galactic Council wasn't just going to fold. They responded quickly, reactivating their fleet's shield systems and sending ground troops to secure Earth's vital points. But what they didn't realize was that Earth's forces weren't retreating or backing down. They were only growing stronger with each passing minute. "This is just the beginning," Hawkins said to his team as he watched the enemy regroup. "We've got them on the ropes. But we finished this with one final push." Maya nodded, her face grim. "We've only got 5 hours. If we can hold them off long enough, they'll start to doubt their superiority. And when they doubt us, that's when we win." With every passing minute, humanity's will to survive surged. As the battle raged on, the Council's elite soldiers faced a harsh reality: they had underestimated humanity's resolve. And by the time they realized their mistake, it was too late. Earth's defenses were too strong, too clever, and far too determined to fall. The battle was just beginning, but the Galactic Council's defeat had already been sealed. The battle escalated quickly. The Galactic Council's fleet, shaken by the unexpected resistance, recalibrated its strategy. They had expected to wipe out Earth's defenses with a few quick strikes, but they had severely misjudged humanity's ingenuity. The Council's soldiers, while genetically enhanced and armed with the most advanced weaponry, were beginning to feel the pressure. For Earth, the first wave of attacks was just a warm-up. As the enemy regrouped, Hawkins and Maya saw an opportunity to launch a second, more aggressive strike. They knew the Council's elite soldiers weren't accustomed to fighting on Earth's terrain, something they intended to exploit. Maya stood before a tactical display, her finger tracing the glowing lines of the holographic map. They're concentrating their forces in the North Quadrant. If we hit them there, we can trap them and force them into a retreat. She glanced at Hawkins, who gave a quick nod. Do it, he ordered. The next wave began. Earth's forces launched a series of surprise attacks, using their terrain and underground networks to their advantage. While the Council's fleet attempted to regain control of their disabled ships, human forces deployed ground units to infiltrate and sabotage the alien base of operations. Maya led a small but elite team of soldiers, including the best engineers and tacticians, into the heart of the Council's defenses. Using advanced cloaking technology, they snuck through the alien encampments, planting explosives and disabling communications. Their goal wasn't just to fight back, it was to send a clear message: Earth wasn't the helpless planet the Council had thought it to be. They're disoriented, Maya said into her comms, watching as an explosion rocked the enemy's forward command post. We've got them on the run. Push them harder. The humans were relentless. Every inch of Earth's surface that the Council tried to take was contested. Every move they made was met with a counterattack. The alien forces had expected a quick war, one that would be over in a matter of hours. But now, they were caught in the web of humanity's determination. Meanwhile, Hawkins was orchestrating the broader strategy. In orbit, Earth's fleet of fighter ships and space stations began to make their move, attacking the Council's weakened fleet with precision. Using Earth's newly developed AI, the ships were coordinated seamlessly, with no hesitation or mistakes. As each alien ship was disabled or destroyed, the Council's commanders began to realize that humanity was not going to bend the knee easily. Cavries, the Council representative who had once dismissed humanity as nothing more than a nuisance, watched in growing disbelief as his own fleet struggled. "What's happening?" he demanded, pacing nervously in the command center of his flagship. "We've underestimated them," one of his subordinates said, pointing to the tactical display. "Their strategy is too unpredictable. Our ships are being disabled faster than we can respond. We need reinforcements now." Cavries seethed with frustration. "Reinforcements are on the way, but it may be too late. If we don't regain control soon, Earth will be ready for our next move. And we'll be too weak to stop them." Cavries was right. The longer the battle raged, the more it became clear that humanity had shifted the tides in their favor. Earth's forces had found a rhythm, exploiting every advantage they had: their knowledge of the terrain, their ability to improvise, and their willingness to sacrifice for the greater good. But despite their successes, the Council was not giving up. They began to send their elite soldiers into battle, hoping to turn the tide with sheer force. These were the best warriors in the galaxy, their battle-hardened skills honed over centuries of combat. But they were still unprepared for Earth's creative tactics. Maya's team continued their sabotage, while Hawkins led his forces to hold the northern quadrant. Their success was contingent on one key factor: speed. If they moved fast enough, they could isolate the Council's strongest forces and defeat them before they had a chance to retaliate. The tension mounted as both sides entered a standoff. The Coalition's elite soldiers were relentless, but they were spread too thin, and their supplies were dwindling. Meanwhile, Earth's forces showed no sign of fatigue, their resolve only strengthening as the hours passed. "We've done the impossible," Hawkins muttered to Maya as they prepared for the final strike. "Now we finish it." Maya nodded, a fire in her eyes. "We're not just fighting for Earth. We're fighting for every civilization that thought we were weak." And with that, humanity launched its final push, one that would leave the galaxy in shock and prove to every power in the universe that humans were not to be trifled with. The battle reached its boiling point as the final wave of Coalition forces descended upon Earth. The pressure was mounting, and there was no time left for hesitation. The human defenders, exhausted but unwavering, readied themselves for the ultimate confrontation. The alien fleet above Earth had regrouped, and their elite warriors, now fully deployed, were preparing to storm the planet. This was the moment where everything would either fall into place or be lost forever. Maya and her team, having already infiltrated the enemy's supply lines and crippled their logistical operations, now faced the most dangerous mission yet, the destruction of the Coalition's Central Command ship, the Iron Sovereign. It was the heart of the enemy's operations, and without it, the entire fleet would lose coordination. But it was heavily guarded and virtually impenetrable. "We take that ship down, and the war is over," Maya said, her voice unwavering despite the odds. "We've already made them bleed. Let's make them feel it." Colonel Hawkins, back in command at the human base, coordinated the final stages of the counterattack. The Coalition fleet had positioned itself for a massive strike, and Earth's forces had to move quickly or risk being overwhelmed. The humans, though still heavily outnumbered, had one advantage the Coalition never anticipated: their ability to think on the fly. They could adapt, innovate, and improvise, using anything at their disposal to outmaneuver their enemies. As the humans prepared for their final push, the Coalition's forces began their own assault. The elite alien warriors surged forward in waves, their advanced battle armor and weapons nearly unstoppable. But Earth's forces were ready. "Activate the electromagnetic pulse arrays," Hawkins ordered. "Let's see how they like losing their tech." With the flip of a switch, the pulse generators around Earth's surface unleashed a wave of disruption, shutting down the Coalition's communications and disabling their targeting systems. The invaders were temporarily blinded, vulnerable to Earth's guerrilla tactics. Human soldiers, who had been using the cover of Earth's terrain to their advantage, now emerged from the shadows with precision strikes, attacking key targets, including the alien ships in orbit. But this was not enough. The real battle was taking place on the surface, where Maya's team had infiltrated the heart of the enemy's defenses. As they approached the Iron Sovereign, they encountered a heavily fortified outer perimeter, guarded by the Coalition's most formidable warriors. These soldiers were genetically enhanced, their strength and speed making them a terrifying threat to any foe. Maya led the charge, her team moving in synchronized formations, expertly dodging fire and using every available tool to gain ground. But as they closed in on their target, the Coalition unleashed their secret weapon, a squad of enhanced assassins, trained specifically to take down the best humanity had to offer. These warriors moved with terrifying precision, their weapons capable of slicing through metal and bone in an instant. Maya's heart raced as the assassins closed in. The odds were shifting against them. But then, something unexpected happened. A human soldier, one of the younger recruits who had been assigned to a backup unit, emerged from the shadows, holding a massive weapon designed for close-quarters combat. The recruit, trembling with fear but determined, shouted, "It won't get through me!" Without thinking, he threw himself into the fray, charging the assassins with a ferocity that shocked everyone, including the aliens. He managed to take down one of the assassins, causing the others to hesitate for a crucial moment. That moment was all Maya and her team needed. Maya, seizing the opportunity, sprinted toward the Iron Sovereign's core. She placed the explosive charges on the ship's main reactor, her hands steady despite the chaos around her. As the countdown began, the team retreated, knowing the explosion would devastate the heart of the Coalition's operation. The assassin who had given his life bought them just enough time to escape. At the same time, Hawkins and his fleet struck the final blow. The electromagnetic pulse had disoriented the Coalition's command ships, leaving them vulnerable to attack. Earth's fighter pilots launched their final offensive, concentrating fire on the Coalition's capital ships, and the results were immediate. Massive explosions ripped through the alien fleet, and within minutes, the tide turned irrevocably in humanity's favor. The final moments of the battle were marked by desperation on the part of the Coalition. The Iron Sovereign, now doomed, detonated in a brilliant explosion, its energy rippling through the surrounding ships. The surviving Coalition forces attempted to retreat, but Earth's forces pursued them relentlessly, destroying their remaining vessels one by one. As the dust settled, humanity stood victorious. The Coalition's plans had crumbled in the face of human ingenuity, courage, and resilience. The galaxy, which had long underestimated Earth, now had a new respect for its people. Maya, bruised but unbroken, stood amid the wreckage, looking up at the stars. "We did it," she said, her voice quiet but filled with pride. "We proved them wrong." Hawkins stood beside her, his gaze fixed on the horizon. "This is just the beginning. The galaxy will remember today. And we'll make sure they never forget why they shouldn't mess with Earth." The aftermath of the battle left Earth's surface scorched and scarred, but humanity stood resolute. The Coalition's forces had been shattered, their fleets decimated, and their once unshakable confidence broken. What had begun as an overwhelming invasion had turned into a humiliating defeat. The story of humanity's victory was spreading across the galaxy, and the message was clear: never again would the galactic powers underestimate Earth. For Maya and Hawkins, the battle had been both a triumph and a sobering reminder of the stakes. As the dust settled and the echoes of combat faded, they stood on the Earth's surface, watching the sun rise over a world that had just proven its resilience. The scars from the war would remain, but so would the undeniable strength humanity had shown in the face of such overwhelming odds. Maya took a deep breath as she watched the once dominant Coalition forces retreat into the stars, their pride shattered. She had fought through the worst of it, her mind racing with the faces of those who had sacrificed so much for this victory. The young recruit who had thrown himself into the fight, the soldiers who had given their all, and the countless others who had given everything to protect the future of Earth. Each of them had played their part in a victory that no one had thought possible. Hawkins placed a hand on her shoulder, his expression serious but filled with a deep sense of pride. "We knew they were capable of amazing things when they were pushed," he said, looking out toward the horizon. "But I never thought we'd go this far. Earth has proven something to the galaxy today." The planet they had fought so hard to protect was scarred, but it was alive with the hope and determination that had powered them through the darkest days of the conflict. The remnants of the Coalition's fleet floated above, now adrift and powerless, like a broken symbol of their once unstoppable power. But even the greatest of empires had their limits, and Earth had demonstrated that its limits were not as close as the galactic powers had assumed. The news of the human victory spread quickly through the galaxy, reaching the farthest corners of the known universe. The Galactic Council, once confident that they could subjugate Earth with ease, now had to confront the reality that humanity was far more resourceful, far more resilient, and far more dangerous than they had ever imagined. The age of human submission had ended, and the age of human strength was just beginning. Humanity's victory had come at a cost, of course. Lives had been lost. Families had been torn apart. Earth's cities lay in ruins, the scars of war etched deep into the fabric of their world. Yet, in every corner of Earth, the spirit of its people burned brighter than ever. The war had united humanity in a way that nothing else ever could. They had faced annihilation and come out victorious. As Maya and Hawkins stood together, watching the remnants of the Coalition fleet fade into the distance, there was a deep sense of relief, but also a deep sense of responsibility. They knew this was just the beginning. The galaxy was vast, and while they had won this battle, the war for Earth's place in the universe had only begun. "We've proven something today," Maya said, her voice quiet but full of determination. "We've shown the galaxy that they can never underestimate humanity again." Hawkins nodded in agreement. "They won't forget us. And neither will we forget this moment. We've taken our stand, and the universe will feel the consequences." The war was over, but the future was still unwritten. Earth had fought back against the greatest threat it had ever known, and in doing so, it had earned its place in the galactic order. No longer would Earth be dismissed, no longer would humanity be ignored. The time for peace had come, but so had the time for vigilance. As the sun rose higher over the horizon, the survivors stood together, looking to the future. The price of victory was high, but they had earned it. Earth's future was now theirs to shape, and nothing could stand in their way.